Joe, I can see the committee now.
Same.
Okay. Yeah,
Can you turn down the volume, please, Ralph?
Ralph, can you just say something, please, so we can check the volume?
Oh dear. Good evening, everybody, and sorry for all the mishaps, but we get it right in the end. I want to start off with our homework first. Planning Committee, where members of the public are present. Welcome to the meeting of the Planning Committee. We are recording the meeting this evening using our webcasting system. The webcast will be transmitted live and will also be available on the Council's website following the meeting. Generally, the public seating areas are not filmed. However, by entering the meeting room and using the public seating areas, you are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recording for webcasting or training purposes. I have the discretion to stop or suspend the recording of the meeting should this be necessary to maintain the proper running of the meeting. This is a meeting of the Council held in public. It is not a public meeting. All mobile devices should be switched off or set to silent so that the meeting is not interrupted by ringtones. Anyone else intending to film or audio record any part of the meeting is asked to do so in a manner that does not disrupt the meeting. Please refrain from filming the public gallery or public speakers on items. The fire alarm sounds leave by the nearest exit, and officers will advise when it's safe to return to the meeting. Before we begin this evening's meeting, I would like to remind members to speak directly into the microphone to enable those present and those watching online to be able to hear the proceedings. Finally, please could members remember to address your speeches to me as the chairman. Procedure for each item. The committee report is taken as read by the Planning Committee. The Planning Officer will present their report and committee members will ask any points of clarification. The meeting will allow those who have given notice that they wish to address the committee on a particular application to do so. Each person will be invited to come forward to the table at the front of the public seating area and will have 3 minutes to give their views. Once all comments have been given, the meeting will then continue for members of the committee to discuss the applications and reach a decision. No further comments may be made by members of the public. Notes: the committee should limit discussions to material planning considerations related to the development application. Commentary on non-planning related matters or overtly political statements are not permitted as they could have an impact on the integrity of the planning process. Summary comments should be concise and relate to the development applications being considered. Thank you, everyone. I have number 1 item, apologies for absence. I don't think I've got any apologies for absence. No, thank you. Declarations of interest and lobbying, item 2. To receive any declarations of interest. Have I any? Sam?
Thank you very much, Chair. In regards to declarations of interest, I'm an Essex County Councillor, and in regards to lobbying, I've been lobbied on item number 3 by Councillor Brockman. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more? I'll go with you first, Darren. Okay?
Thank you, Chair. I'm an Essex County Councillor.
Right, okay. Alan?
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, Chair. I've been lobbied on item number 4.
Thank you. Martin?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've been lobbied on item number 4 as well.
Right, thank you. Mike?
Yeah, same Chair. Item 4, being lobbied.
Right, okay. Okay, Adele?
Yeah, item 4.
Right.
We all received the same emails. I've also been. Oh, sorry, I'm not pressing the button. Sorry, no. There, I'm back on. Yeah, number 4. I also previously I attended a infrastructure for East meeting where the application for the data for the storage facility was discussed, and I've been advised that I should say that. Thank you.
Sorry, can I just get you to all confirm that you're coming with an open mind still, even though you've been lobbied on all of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we've forgotten. Yeah, we forgot to say what we need to say.
That's fine.
Open mind? Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I've been on lobbied on item 4 and 5 as well. I think everybody's been lobbied on item 4. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Item 3, minutes. Confirmation of the minutes of the Planning Committee on the 22nd of April 2026. All those in favour, please show. Obviously, some of you weren't here. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
That's fine, is it?
Can you vote to abstain? Oh, please, if you weren't here. Thank you.
Okay. Now we've done that, we can move on to the agenda item 4. And the agenda item 4 is planning application number 20-01-204-out. Development of up to 20 number affordable houses at land east of Bakers Farm. Bakers Farm Close, Southend Road, Wickford. I believe... Yes, it's online, is it? Okay, thank you.
Oh, good evening, Chair.
Ralph, would you mind turning down your microphone a little bit because it's coming through the speakers rather
Oh,
loud?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So it is. Is that better?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Sorry, I'll just bring up the presentation now. Sorry, excuse me.
Is there some reason that Ralph isn't here tonight?
Yeah, Ralph is attending to his partner in hospital, so that's
Right,
fine.
okay.
He's logging on remote.
Okay.
So Ralph, if you're in Teams, can you just share your screen and then move to the correct window? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chair. I'm just attempting to bring up the presentation. Is it possible to bring the presentation up there?
Can Eunice, are you able to share your screen? Thank you.
If not, we can always defer it to the next one. Here we go.
It's coming up now, I think.
Can you confirm that you can see the presentation?
Yes. Yes, we can see it, Ralph. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm presenting the application remotely, but I will move through the application now. Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is an application for an outline application with all matters reserved for the development of 20 affordable houses at, this is the site location plan. It's a site on the east of Wickford, adjacent to Bakers Farm Close. And as you can see, it's a rectangular site which fronts onto Southend Road and directly adjoins Bakers Farm Close. And as I say, the proposal is for 20 affordable houses. I would point out that last November, a much larger scheme was approved immediately adjacent for 250 houses, which members may recall, and it adjoins the site on the east side and the north side as well. This is the application site we're dealing with here, just there. And this is the proposed layout of the site. Because it's an outline planning application, we just have an indicative plan, which shows an indicative access through Bakers Farm Close, leading into the site here. Number 5, Bakers Farm Close, is also in the ownership of the applicant, and the garage, which is in place here, will be demolished to give access to the site. A number of access improvements are proposed as part of the scheme. Visibility displays on Southend Road at Bakers Farm Close will be improved. There will also be improvements at the turn in Bakers Farm Close, as you can see just here. As I say, the garage is to be removed and a new access created. And there will also be a pedestrian link just here. This is a view of Bakers Farm Close with the entrance. This is number 1 and 2, Bakers Farm Close, which front directly onto Southend Road. And this is a view facing down Bakers Farm Close towards Southend Road, with number 3, Bakers Farm Close, just visible there. And this is the turn into the site just there. This is an overview showing Bakers Farm Close, 1 and 2 here, number 3, 4 and 5, 4 and 5 here, number 6 there, and this is the accessway with the garage, which, as I say, is to be removed. I would just point out that recently 2 more bungalows, or chalet bungalows, have been approved just here, extending Bakers Farm Close. That was a delegated item. And again, this is just an overview showing the layout, which is quite schematic, but it does have, it's a mix of...
Hang on a moment. Yes, Mike.
Sorry to interrupt, Chair, but I can't actually see where Ralph is referring to on the diagrams. He says you can see number 6, you can see number 8, but either there's a pointer there and I can't see it, or there isn't. So, is there anything that we can do so we can understand what he's actually referring to? Thank you.
Ralph, did you hear that?
I did, yes, yeah. Could I just ask, is my cursor showing up as I move around?
No, I think it's because Eunice is is that right? Eunice is sharing the presentation because it didn't come up when you tried to. So your cursor, we're not seeing your screen. We're seeing Eunice's screen. Can you just talk us through it, please, Ralph, where the buildings are on that plan, on that photograph?
Okay, you can see that. Can you see the plan? It's perhaps we'll go back to the aerial view. Can you see the aerial view?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Okay then. Well, what I'll do is.
It really needs extending so it's bigger. It's very small. It's coming up on the screen.
Is that better?
Two additional chalets built. Ralph, we're from that point, so you can move on.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay. Well, next
Ralph, hang on a
item.
moment, Mike.
Chair, I'm really sorry to interrupt again, but it was a number of slides back when Ralph first referred to this is number 1, this is number 2, and I wasn't able to follow any of that, I'm afraid. So could we go back all the way back to the start of the images and follow the commentary through from there, please?
Right, Ralph, did you hear that from Councillor Baker?
I did indeed. I did.
You.
Yes.
If
Thank you,
could do
Councillor.
that, please, thank you.
Okay. Shall I start again?
Yes, please, if you could.
Yeah, sure. As I say, this is the application site, which is located to the east of Bakersform Close. It's a rectangular site of about 0.6 of a hectare and is currently vacant scrubland. Immediately adjoining is Bakersform Close, as you can be seen here. And you will notice that number 5 Bakersform Close is outlined in blue because it is also owned by the applicant. This is an outline application with all matters reserved, including access, and therefore the plans we've received are really just confined to a site layout. As I mentioned, I'll move on to the next slide. I might reduce this one. There. Okay. This application site adjoins our application site, and it was granted planning permission for 250 homes in November of last year. A development by Martin Grant Homes. It directly adjoins the current application site on the north and on the east. Again, this is the layout, and as you can see, it's a development of 20 houses, all of them to be affordable. 14 will be social rented, and 6 will be intermediate. It's a mix of 10 2-bedroom and 10 3-bedroom houses. As part of the application, the applicant has submitted access improvements to Bakersform Close. These include visibility displays at the front of the site, an improvement to visibility at the turn in Bakersform Close itself, the access itself, which will involve the demolition of the garage at number 5 into the application site, giving access into the application site, and a pedestrian link at the south of the application site to the footpath. I have some photographs here. This is the front of the application. This is Bakersform Close, as seen from Southend Road. This is a view looking down Southend Road. And again, this is the aerial view. As I mentioned, right at the end of Bakersform Close, 2 new chalet bungalows have been granted planning permission under delegated powers. I'll move on to the key issues. The key issues concern the greenbelt location of the site. Because it's a vacant site, none of the normal 8 exceptions set out in the MPPF apply here, so it should be regarded as inappropriate development in the Greenbelt. However, recent changes to the MPPF do allow housing developments in the Greenbelt to be regarded as not inappropriate if they meet a number of criteria. These are mainly that the development is on Greybelt land, that it's a sustainable location, and that it it addresses a recognized need. The application site meets all 3 criteria because recent studies for the emerging local plan have confirmed this area to be Greybelt, and also the application adjoining by Martin Grant Homes accepted in principle that this was a Greybelt. The larger parcel was Greybelt. This is a highly sustainable location. It's on Southend Road, well served by public transport and close to Shockgate Village. And lastly, it addresses a housing need. Basildon has only just over 2-year housing land supply, where central government policy requires 5 years. As mentioned already, it's 100% affordable housing, and the affordable housing will be managed by Estuary Housing Association, who run various sites across Essex, including a number in Billericay and Wickford already. Turning to the impact on the residential amenity of residents at Breakers Farm Close, the application site, the layout has been designed so that the new properties are in line with the existing properties on Bakers Farm Close, and that there are good separation distances between the two, between the existing development and the proposed. Technical documents submitted in support of the application indicate that traffic volumes will be low through Bakers Farm Close and are acceptable. The application was supported by engineering technical documents which have been accessed by Essex County Council and are considered to be acceptable. Finally, as regards ecology, the site is scrub and no good trees have been identified at the site. A detailed ecology report was submitted with the application, and conditions will be attached to ensure that the measures in the report are carried through, and also a biodiversity strategy is submitted as well. There will be a number of Section 106 contributions. Affordable housing, as mentioned. There's no education contribution, as Essex County Council considered the development to be too small to merit a contribution. There'll be a contribution of £9,900 towards healthcare, £5,740 towards open space, culture, play and sports. As regards transport, each property will have a residential travel pack, and also the local bus stops outside the post office in Shockgate Village will be upgraded. There will be a £6,000 contribution for local skills and labour. And also there will be a standard RAMS contribution for Essex Wildlife of £3,511, and in addition the standard monitoring fees. In terms of the planning balance, 20 affordable units are proposed addressing housing needs in the borough, and also this is an opportunity to provide a high quality development at a prominent location on the east side of Wickford. In terms of issues that have to be looked at carefully, access to Bakers Farm Close will be scrutinised at reserved matter stage. On the basis of these considerations, the application is recommended for approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ralph. I think I'm going to ask the panel if we have any clarifications on any of this. I think you have, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So, Ralph, could you go back to the indicative access arrangements slide, please? Because although it was fairly large on the screen, I couldn't read some of it. So,
sure.
Just a few bits I need to understand.
Is that visible?
No. Yeah, thank you. So it's on our screen now, Ralph. So the bit I wasn't sure was that there's a green arc.
Yes.
So if you're coming up Baker's, sorry, I can't remember the name of the road. Baker's Strong Close, that's it. And then turning into the site, there's a green arc with what looks like, sorry, I can't see it from where I'm sitting, an arrow pointing it with a
Yes.
little bit of wording. Can you just
Yeah.
explain what that is, please? Thank you.
Yeah, that reads 11 meter forward visibility display, and then in brackets MFS standard for 10 miles per hour speeds.
So, Ralph, it's Mike again. Just a quick follow-up question. You mentioned in the planning balance that the access arrangements would require careful treatment at the reserved matter stage. What exactly do you mean by that?
Yes. Well, first of all, this is an outline application, so this is an indicative scheme to show that access can be provided to the application site via Barker's Farm Close, meeting highway standards. When we look at it when reserve matters stage, when it comes in at reserve matters stage, this will be the baseline on which we will assess the matters further.
So sorry, Ralph, it's Mike again. I'm still not completely clear why you've called that out so specifically on the planning balance summary. It suggests that you have a concern about it.
Well, the main reason I pulled it out there is because it has been the main planning consideration, or the planning consideration that has been causing has risen most in the response from neighbours due to public consultation. That's why I felt it deserved to be scrutinised in both in the report and a planning committee.
Any other clarifications, Adele?
Yeah, I can understand your logic behind that. What I don't understand is if this is an outline application, and therefore this is something that will come before us as an additional reserved matters. This, in my mind, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's a long time since I've been sitting here, that our issues around this axis is not something that we should be considering tonight, and cannot be a reason why we approve or if we love it, or vote against if we don't, because it's not reserved matters. Therefore, we cannot consider this tonight. Am I wrong? Right? Yeah. Can someone just explain that to maybe whoever's watching?
Okay. Shall I clarify? As I say, this is an in principle decision as to whether the residential development of the site is acceptable. And as part of that, we have to consider how access will be arranged to the site. The submission has demonstrated that an acceptable arrangement can be made at Baker's Farm Close, and the indicative plan actually, as it forms part of the planning application, it will form part of the planning decision as well. So it will carry weight at reserved matters stage. Yes.
Sam?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Ralph. Would you be able to explain if there's any likely significance around the archaeological remains that may be present on this particular site, please? Thank you.
Yes, we got a very detailed response from the archaeology team at Essex County Council. If you look at the report in the consultation responses stage, there's a long history of possible associations with the land from pre-Roman times onwards, right up to Anglo-Saxon and medieval times. So the site is vacant at the moment and probably was agricultural land in the past, but a condition will be attached to ensure that a trench is dug and any archaeological significance can be identified. And what, depending on what is found when the trench is excavated.
Thank you very much. And in regards to the development as well, would there be any irreversible loss of archaeological remains if we was to proceed with this?
No, not at the moment. No, no.
So when you say
It doesn't
no,
have any designations as an area of archaeological interest.
so if you say, so what you're trying to say is no, there isn't, because we haven't dug it up yet, or because we know there's definitely nothing there.
Yeah, well, it would be a standard watching brief, which means that investigatory trenches will be dug, and depending what is found, then if I could refer members to the conditions to the actual condition in the report, which is the condition we received from Essex County Council. It's I think it's towards the end. I think it's probably condition 2021.
Through the chair, please. Have you finished, Sam?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, okay. I think it was you, Alan, next, wasn't it? Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, beg your pardon. It's archaeology. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. Archaeology. There are 3 conditions requiring a program of archaeological investigation, completion of the program of archaeological investigation, and then a post-excavation assessment. So that ensure that any archaeological significance at the site is investigated, and if remains are found, that they can be either protected or probably an extended excavation, archaeological excavation then carried out.
Ralph, have you finished the matter of archaeology? Just going back to the access, and as Ralph said, it's indicative. Where I'm coming from is that I have managed highway control, DM, the engineers for 10 years, because I've worked in a county council. In terms of what the indicative access means in this case, is where the site can be accessed from. So we're talking about Southend Road. The width is what the engineer is saying is the width is okay. The visibility display standards can be met. So the actual design, in terms of surfacing, etc., they would still need to come back. So what they're saying, the principle and the space is there for the 20 houses can be met. That was all I just wanted to clarify. I think that's what you... Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that. Alan, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. On the affordable housing, 14 rented, are they going to be available as a first offer to local residents? And my second point is really with the traffic issues. I know the area well, but I did visit it the other day. And can something be done? But it's a very, very quiet little road, and something needs to be done to protect the current residents, i.e. no parking within the current road at Bakers Farm Close. And did you say there's a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit? How's this going to be policed, shall we say?
Yeah. Okay. Turning towards the housing association. First of all, the Section 106 agreement will require a housing management plan as part of the affordable housing offer. So that will be managed by Estuary Housing. As regards the speed limits, we're not at that stage yet because, as I say, this is an outline application, but certainly a 10-mile-per-hour limit is indicated in the submissions we've received, and also the feedback we've received from Essex County Council.
Thank you, through the chair, but that didn't answer my question. I said, will these be available to local residents as a first offer? I didn't say we managed them.
That was...
Sorry,
okay.
I was just going to say, as part of the Section 106, we normally have private for sale dwellings, which, in line with the Basildon First Homes Charter, that will secure them for 12 months for Basildon residents.
Still want to come in? No? Okay. Have you finished now, Alan?
Yeah, I think
yes. I think it's Darren. Darren?
Thank you, Chair. I've just got a question around why the last developer didn't consider building dwellings on this site that's now up for planning. Do you know the reason for that? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't have any information on that point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Ralph, it's just a quick one from me. This 10 mile an hour, does that mean that estate's going to be private then and non-adopted?
No, it will be adopted. Baker's Farm Close is adopted by Essex County Council as the Highways Authority, and this estate will be adopted in due course as well.
Yeah, sorry, can I just come back on that then? If it becomes a public road, you can't have a 10 mile an hour speed limit. The lowest you can have at the moment is 20.
Yes, well, this will emerge probably at reserve matter stage as to what the exact speed limit will be. But the information that's been submitted has indicated a 10 mile per hour. But whether that can be enforced, unfortunately, not being a highways engineer, I can't. There's limited information I can offer on this point.
Thank you, Ralph. Adele?
Hi. I just want to come back to the archaeology stuff because I want to just get some clarification from officers that this is a normal, usual condition that is placed upon building sites regularly, that an archaeological investigation is carried out as a matter of course. It is a condition that we repeatedly put on homes. This is something that's not unusual, and it is not something that we have not relied upon before. Can I just get some clarification on that, please?
Yes, certainly. Well, we consulted Essex Archaeology, as we do with all major housing applications, and they've come back, as I say, with quite a detailed report, and they have recommended these conditions. Sorry,
sorry, don't want me to interrupt, but that's not my question. My question is it usual for this type of condition to be put on, and is it effective? Can we have some, it's just a general planning question, so...
Yes, certainly.
Sorry,
I would say...
Michael's trying to come in.
Sorry, Ralph, I will answer that, sorry, through the chair. No, you're absolutely correct, Councillor. That is a normal standard condition that would apply to most applications, and the point is that, yes, you do the investigation work through the development. That is the correct time to do it. So you are correct.
Sam?
Thank you very much, Chair. Just in regards to how we came to the conclusion that this was grey belt rather than green belt, would you be able to outline that for us as well? And secondly, I think this has come, well, we've brought this to your attention many times across many planning committees, especially the last year that I've been on. And we're talking about the 5-year housing land supply. Why are we back to 1.96 as a number on the report? If you look on line 5.1.18, it's saying that we currently only have 1.96 years. Now, the last planning committee I come to is something like 2.45, or 2.1 or whatever it was. Why have we moved backwards? Thank you.
Sorry, Michael, should I answer that question?
So, yeah, Ralph, if you can address the Greenbelt question, I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah, the Greenbelt question, yes, certainly. Okay. Yes, well, as outlined in the report, we go through various stages with the assessment of Greenbelt land. First of all, establishing whether any of the exceptions apply, so whether it is appropriate development in the Greenbelt or not. In this case, none of the exceptions apply because it's not previously developed land, it's not agriculture, etc., agricultural buildings, sport and recreation, whatever. So therefore, the conclusion is that it would be inappropriate development in the Greenbelt. However, paragraph 154 does allow housing development in on what is effectively grey belt land. So the next stage is to assess whether this is grey belt. And there is a definition of grey belt in the NPPF, and it concerns whether the land contributes to 3 of the 5 main purposes of the green belt. In this case, I mentioned the emerging local plan earlier, and this land was assessed as part of a larger parcel in the Greenbelt study last year and concluded that it could be reviewed as Greybelt. And in the adjoining development of Martin Grant Homes, again, that was considered to be Greybelt. The other parts which are relevant are that it does address a housing need and it is in a sustainable location. On that basis, it was accepted as a not inappropriate development in the Greenbelt.
So just to confirm, it was yourself that made the decision that it was Greybelt rather than Greenbelt?
Well, the committee will be making the decision. We're making the recommendation here. We're putting it forward as a Greybelt site, where housing development would be not inappropriate, in accordance with the precedents that have been set in the area and in accordance with the NPPF.
Fine. And just in regards to the 5-year land supply, again, it says 1.96 years, and it has previously been 2.1 years. So have we gone backwards? I just want to understand how we've got to this number again, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just in terms of the 5-year housing land supply number, the number referenced within the report is the Council's currently published number. The number that we presented to committee previously was an unpublished number that we came because we knew there was questions around it and it was decided to be more helpful. But the officer's report references the published number. It's not the fact that we've gone backwards, it's just that that is our publicly stated published number rather than the one that is currently under development and working towards. So it's not the case that we're going backwards.
So what is the unpublished number then? Because that's the realistic number, isn't it?
Yeah, the unpublished number still sits around just over two years. So we're still a long way away from the 5 years.
There's another question about assessment. In terms of the particular case officer, it's not the case officer deciding whether he's weighing up. The actual assessment has been made as part of our evidence for our local plan. So there has been other studies done for this. And as Ralph said, it was part of a larger housing site. Part of the other sort of published information I did want to say to members, as a part of your decision making in your committee, the Borough Council has a housing waiting list of 3,629. That was January. That's a published figure. And here you're looking at 20 homes for rent as affordable housing. So in terms of that balance, I just want to sort of highlight that to you. But that figure I've given you is published on our website for January 2026. Thank you.
I think we've got a lot of problems at the moment because we haven't got a borough plan that's been agreed, and we really do need a borough plan so we can come back to this. It's on the borough plan. We know whether it's grey belt, green belt or whatever. Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on this? Alan?
Yeah, Ralph said about the improvements to the bus stop. Do we know what improvements they're going to make to the bus stop?
Yes. If you look at in the responses in the report, the consultation responses, I think it is detailed there. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it just says shall be upgraded. I have seen the information. I have seen that information. Let's see. It might be in Section 106. No, I don't think. It certainly includes a timetable board, an electronic timetable board, and improvements to the highway, to the pavement in front.
Yes, so it's at 5.12.11 of the report. So the existing bus stop's known as the post office, located on Southend Road, adjacent to the proposal site, shall be upgraded at the developer's expense to provide raised casal curbs, associated footway reprofiling, new poles and flags, and a real-time passenger information as deemed necessary.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Darren.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering if you could clarify the Anglian Water. They had an objection, and what's going to be done about that, if you don't mind. To be honest, reading the 5.87 doesn't really explain exactly what's happening with the water going into the main sewage that they don't want. Could you just explain what's happening with that, please?
Yes, certainly. Well, my understanding is this will be an independent sewage treatment unit, which will then discharge to a septic tank at the land itself.
Right, okay. Have we got anything on the potential smells or how they're going to empty that? Are the residents going to have to all chip in to pay for that service, or is it something that the council will supply? What's happening with that, if you don't mind?
Well, it will be a private facility, so it will be paid for by the residents themselves. And details have been submitted to us, which have been approved by Anglian Water. And environmental health, certainly the issue of odours hasn't arisen.
Right, okay, thank you.
Adele.
Okay, a couple of things. I'll just come to the Wickford thing first, because following on from that question, you're right, we do have an issue with that watering. The history behind that is for another day. But am I right in saying that what Anglian Water, in order to remove the objection for any development going on in those areas where their present facility do not see themselves being able to cope with future growth, is that you have to have an on-site facility. And you can have an on-site facility, and therefore that mitigates and takes away, through a Grampian, who won't bore everybody with what that is, condition, that means that therefore that development can go forward. Just like people all over the country who are off the grid have septic tanks. It works in a similar way. Am I correct in that? So therefore having a facility on site is actually a positive thing, is not a reason for refusal. Is that correct?
No, it certainly is a positive thing, because otherwise there would be a reason for refusal. If the developer wished to gain access to the public storage system, which is overloaded at present in the Wickford area, that would certainly raise concerns. But because a treatment plant is proposed, it addresses that issue satisfactorily.
Thank you, Ralph. One of the questions I'd like to ask is, do you think a water treatment plant is really needed on a 20-home application? Do you think that's reasonable, and do you think that's fair?
Well, the applicant has proposed it. It's been accepted by Anglian Water. It's the submission that's in front of us. Yes, I can't offer. I can't really offer a view on that.
Ralph, can I just make a point on this? It actually says it's not that to the public sewer that would remove our objections. However, if it still proposes to connect to Anglian Water foul sewer, that the objection would remain.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. That is the case. But pardon. Sorry, I'm getting echo feedback.
Sorry,
yes,
Ralph, I might jump in and just help. Sorry, Chair, if I can assist. So you are correct. If they were looking to connect to the current wastewater recycling system. At the moment, they are over capacity in Wickford. What the applicant is proposing is that they do not do that and that they have an on-site solution. Therefore, Anglian Water would support that proposal, and that is how we have addressed other applications in the past at the moment dealing with that overcapacity issue.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Alan.
That brings another problem. Ongoing maintenance of this on-site facility, who pays for that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I will just add to that, Ralph. So Anglian Water also operate under their own legal framework, so any system that they sign off on needs to meet their own legal standards. So it will be compliant, but Anglian Water will sign off that under their own legal framework. It's not under the planning framework.
Thank you. Is that, are we finished now with clarifications and we can go into questions? Okay, everyone happy? Thank you. I think I can first call Stephen Cook because he's actually going to speak for Terry Pett or something. Is Stephen Cook here? Thank you, Stephen. Would you like to come forward and press the red button in front of you? And you have 3 minutes to give your speech. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and committee members. My name is Stephen Cook and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the long-standing residents of Bakers Farm Close in Shotgate. I've lived in this close for 26 years and I'm standing here tonight, or sitting here tonight, to urge this committee to refuse this application on critical grounds of highway safety and severe loss of residential amenity. We're not just complaining about more cars, we are presenting you with undeniable fixed physical dimensions that make this development impossible to access safely. Bakers Farm Close is a minor, highly restricted cul-de-sac. The vehicle road is exactly 3 metres wide, flanked by a single footpath of 1.5 metres. First, the new layout fundamentally violates the Essex Design Guide 2018 edition, version 3. For a development of this size, the county standards mandate a combined pedestrian and vehicular surface of 6 metres and target maximum driver speed of 20 miles an hour, also with a tabled entrance and priority for pedestrians and cyclists across junctions. Second, a two-way traffic is physically impossible. According to the Department for Transport's Manual for Streets, section 7.2, the absolute minimum width required for two standard cars to pass each other is 4.1 metres. For a car to safely pass a delivery van or an emergency service appliance, a minimum width of 4.8 metres is required. Because our road is only 3.5 metres wide, vehicles will be forced to mount a narrow 1.5 metre footpath just to bypass oncoming cars. This places pedestrians, young children and elderly residents walking in our close in direct daily danger. This is a severe and direct breach of paragraph 115 and 116 of the National Planning Policy Framework, which states that development should be refused where there is an unacceptable impact on highway safety. Thirdly, and most critically, this layout creates an active public safety hazard. It violates requirement B5 of the building regulations for fire service access. Fire service pump appliances require an absolute clear curb-to-curb width of 3.7 metres to operate. At 3.3 metres wide, a fire engine will be physically blocked from navigating our close if a single delivery vehicle or a visitor car is stationed on the road. This puts both the new homes and our six existing households at a severe risk. Finally, I must stress that the residents of Bakers Farm Close are not against the building of the 20 affordable homes. We fully recognise the need for affordable housing in Wickford. Our objection is strictly about the dangerous and unnecessary access. The developer does not need to use our highly restricted 3.3 metre close. There are far safer, viable alternative entry points available right next to the site, most notably utilising the proposed major access point at Southend Road, being created for the new Martin Grant development. Why force traffic, delivery vans and dozens of cars through a tight substandard residential bottleneck when a purpose-built highway connection is right there? Under safe policies of Basildon district council and local plan, this committee must protect the amenity of existing occupiers and refuse applications that fail to provide safe access. Forcing traffic through Bakers Farm Close is a completely unnecessary risk. We urge this committee to review this specific access arrangement, protect public safety and direct the developers to use a safer, superior access via the Southend Road instead. Thank you for taking the time tonight. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Stephen. I'd just like to clarify something. You were going to speak on Terry Nappett
Yes, if I
as
may.
well, which is now.
If I may, Chair, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
If I can just reiterate, the gentleman, as Mr Nappett here, sitting behind me, resident of number 1 Bakers Farm Close, he's just really re-endorsing what I'm saying, so you may hear some repeated words, if I may. Thank you. I'm Terry Nappett, a resident of number 1 Bakers Farm Close, and I've been a resident since 2008. Finally, I must stress that the residents of Bakers Farm Close are not against the building of these 20 affordable homes. We fully recognise the need for affordable housing in Wickford. Our objection is strictly about a dangerous and unnecessary access layout. The developer does not need to use their highly restricted 3.3 metre close. There are far safer, viable alternative entry points available right next to the site, most notably utilising the proposed major access point onto Southend Road created by the Marketing Grant development. Why force construction, delivery vans and dozens of cars for a tight, substantial residential net bottleneck when a purpose-built highway connection is right there? Under safe policies of the Basildon District Plan, this committee must protect the amenity of existing occupiers and refuse applications that fail to provide safe access. Forcing traffic through Bakers Farm Close is a completely unnecessary safety risk. I urge the committee to refuse this specific access arrangement, protect public safety and direct the developers to use a safer, superior access site of the road. Thank you for your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you on behalf of Terry Nappett. Thank you. Can I call upon Russell Barnes, please? Would you like to come forward? Press the red button on the front. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I start now? Lovely. Good evening, Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity for the applicant's comments to be heard in relation to this application. As members will note, the planning officer has put the application forward to committee with a recommendation for approval. The application before you is an outline application with all matters reserved. So importantly, beyond tonight, the applicant is fully engaged to continue to work closely with the LPA to explore all reserved matters pending a positive outcome. Members will be aware that there have been no objections from statutory consultees. It is important to emphasise as a key consideration that the development and investment team stated that the delivery of affordable housing on this site would be a valuable addition to the borough. Listening to comments tonight, we note the neighbours' concerns about access, but members should be aware that the applicant has engaged with Essex County Council both through the Highways Pre-App Service but also through the formal planning process as well. Importantly, the statutory consultee deemed the proposal acceptable both in line with highway safety and network conjunction capacities. Their thorough review of the design raised no concerns in relation to the existing and proposed road widths, with the necessary standards being sufficiently met. As a level of comfort though, as already mentioned, the applicant seeks to finalise access as one of the reserved matters and is committed to continuing to work with them proactively and positively with the LPA to explore all opportunities with officers following a positive decision on the outline application before you tonight. As members will have noted, the application is to deliver a 100% affordable housing scheme. Therefore, no market housing at all, just to focus on the identified need, which is one of the exemptions under the NPPF to allow for development in the Greenbelt. Further, the site is located within W18 of the Borough's Greenbelt study and is noted by the LPA that it does not make a strong contribution to the 5 purposes of Greenbelt, which is a key material consideration. Members would also observe that from the map, the site is landlocked by existing and proposed housing and therefore meets the criteria of Greybelt, and it does not present any wider impact on the Greenbelt or the countryside beyond and therefore does not constitute an inappropriate development. Importantly, the applicant has also agreed the draft contributions in the Section 106 and is keen to support those services through the mechanism to bring about local improvements. In summary, therefore, the applicant feels the delivery of much needed affordable housing and making best use of the site, which is landlocked within a sustainable location,
is a real opportunity to meet the affordable housing shortfall and to get people into good quality homes. We hope that members are keen to support the hard work of officers and that their recommendations which allow this application to advance to finally deliver much needed affordable housing in this area. On behalf of the applicant, we'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Right, we'll bring this back to members now. Have I anybody else that'd like to speak on it? Alan.
Thank you, Chair. It's difficult, this one, because I feel for the residents. As I've visited a few times, it's a very, very narrow road, quiet road, and if you stick 20 housing, whatever sort of housing, to go into it, you're going to create problems anyway. But Highways have said there's no problem, which I find unbelievable, really. But it is a narrow road, as the resident said, and you've got kind of a shared space pathway on the side. It's in block paving, a different colour, which come up on one of the slides. So I really feel for the residents. I mean, we need the affordable housing, and because the other development of 250 houses effectively encompasses this, and as the applicant says, landlocks this. It's a really difficult one, but I'm just amazed that we've got nothing from Highways to, because all they've spoken about is the splay at the end of Bakers Farm Close into Southend Road, which fair enough, I agree with, but that's because it goes out into two-way after the shared space of the parking, and now they're going to police a speed limit down there. I don't know. Supposing you get, I don't know, and I'm not saying you would, but supposing you get a couple of residents who decide they're going to use it as a racetrack, I don't see anyone is ever going to be able to police it. So I don't know. I'll listen to what anyone else has got to say, but it's difficult. Thank you.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, obviously echo the points that Councillor Ball's made there, that the Highways thing obviously requires some thought here. Obviously listen to what the residents have said on that point, although I think it's probably appropriate to note that they are dealing with that reality at the moment. The houses that are on the existing site are currently dealing with traffic flow to and fro based upon that existing width of road. But fundamentally, my understanding is we are not allowed to object to this application on Highways grounds if the Highways Authority is saying that they don't have any issue with it at this stage. So yeah, that just put us in a difficult situation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Martin.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Mentioning the highway side of things, I do note the comment from Refuge and Recycling. They have got a concern. As this is an outline application, there's not enough information regarding the bin areas, etc., and to be fully comment on the application. There are comments I can make. Direct access into the site seems to be acceptable, assuming that we're able to use a roadway. Will all roadways allow access to all parts of the site and be built to a standard that allows regular traversing by a 32-tonne vehicle? Collections of units will be collected as part of the standard bin. And I note the officer's comment, the applicant has confirmed that the access will be constructed to a minimum access standards. As we've heard, and I accept what Councillor Baker's just said, there does seem to be issues with this, the access point. I know, and I do accept what Councillor Baker's just said, but even we've got concerns about Refuge and Recycling, and we've passed comment on this application. Thank you, Chair.
Any other speakers?
Yep, come on.
Sam?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll be honest, I'm not that persuaded really that this site should be treated as grey belt. It remains open green belt land, and its development would result in clear urban encroachment and loss of openness. Obviously, we know this then becomes a piecemeal development, adding on to the other 250 homes that have previously been passed here, then creating further issues for build-up traffic in a busy area. As we discussed earlier today, Councillor Mordecai made it quite clear that a 10-mile-per-hour speed limit is impossible to implement and police, because we know that the law is 20 miles per hour as a minimum. Then we have Anglian Water, who maintains an objection to wastewater capacity constraints, and I truly do not believe that sufficient certainty has not been provided that foul drainage can be dealt with by itself. So for those reasons, I can't support that application, or this particular application, because we hear time and time again about residents that have issues with foul smells and water issues. So yeah, I'm not prepared to give it a vote today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Adele.
Yeah, forgive me, Chair. I've just written down a few points. Oh, sorry, I've just lost my screen. I've lost my screen. Brilliant. Okay. I think the first thing we need to be mindful of is that this is not a reserved matters, that this is an outline. So tonight what we're being asked to do is not to consider things like where the bins are going to be, how we're going to get fire access. What we're being asked to do is think about this plot of land adjacent to another plot of land that has got planning permission, surrounded by homes, whether or not the principle of being able to build 20 properties there, if there's a sufficient evidence to do that. We're not being asked to approve the design code. We're not being asked to approve exactly where the road's going to be, or, like I say, bin stores, or what the homes look like, and all of those things. What we're being asked tonight is, as a matter of principle, is it right to be able to build 20 homes on there? What our officers have said to us is, yeah, it's part of that green belt, that 2018, sorry, my notes have gone, so I'm doing it from memory. But we know that green belt is not a description, it's not, is it a field? It's a legal definition. And under that legal definition, we're then to consider whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. We know it's green belt. So therefore, the next step is to look at, well, in that instance, then in that case, is it a grey belt area? Grey belt area, for that, we have to look at the purposes of the green belt. And we know from the report that it does not strongly contribute to things like urban sprawl. It's surrounded by homes. It doesn't contribute as a dividing piece of land between two settlements. It's surrounded by homes. It's very clearly under the evidence gathered for the local plan, under the Greenbelt study that was carried out, all evidence-based, gone out to consultation, come back for people to scrutinise, that this area is a grey belt piece of land. So tonight what we're being asked to do is, do we agree that the evidence placed before us decides that this is in fact infill, and therefore the principle of being able to build the properties there is established? That is what we're being asked to consider, not whether or not we think we know more about water recycling than Angular Water, not whether or not we know more about whether a road can or cannot be built there that they've not even shown us yet, because all of those things will come forward at reserved matters. That is not what we're being asked tonight. We're not being asked tonight whether or not we think they're going to find Viking remains there. And all these planning applications always have an archaeological clause on there. There's a reason why we have those conditions. What we're being asked tonight is there a reasonable assumption, a reasonable set of evidence that says this is infill, this is grey belt, the principle is there to be able to build? Or are we saying that legally the evidence is not there, that this is not grey belt under the technical, because it's not a description, it's under the technical legal framework from the NPPF. Is it there or not? For me, those things are there. It is grey belt, it is infill, and everything else that we've discussed tonight and that we're concerned about will come before us again when reserved matters come back. We're not saying this is getting built tomorrow. What we're saying is there is a principle there where 20 homes can go there. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else? No? Right, we'll go into the recommendation. The recommendation is that the planning application number 2001-204 out be granted outline planning permission subject to the completion of a 106 agreement to secure affordable housing, healthcare, travel plan, bus service improvements, open space and sports provision. Local delivery pilot, employment and skills contribution, RAMS, payment of the local planning authorities' professional and legal fees, and the cost of monitoring associated with the completion of the 106 legal agreement. As set out in section 5.12 and subject to the conditions set out at the end of the report, with any minor amendments delegated to the Assistant Director of Planning, Regeneration and Economic Development for approval that might be necessary up to the issue of the decision notice. All those in favour, please show. All those against? I think that's a refusal. So we need grounds now to refuse this.
Perfect.
Yes, we've got highways access.
The drainage.
And yes, Essex Water. One of them is an adopted road. I think that you brought that up, Alan. I live in that and I know what a problem that is with people speeding up and down it. And though Adele has said we are not being asked to decide this, but we are, because these are relevant factors to do with this application, right?
For you, Chair, I think the refuge and recycling, that 32-tonne lorry.
Yes.
And the unresolved. We're not convinced that it's great. It's great. But
yeah, the water drainage isn't unresolved because they've addressed how they are going to deal with that, and with that mitigation in place, Anglian Water have removed their rejection, so it won't stand to object.
Well, we don't believe it's Greenbelt. It's on the Greenbelt.
Yes, it may well be a Greenbelt site, but the fact that it is affordable housing that is being delivered with the planning balance, it's in favour of sustainable development. It meets yeah.
Well, we've refused it. So
but you need grounds for us to be able to.
Should we adjourn for 5 minutes to have that conversation?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, let's adjourn.
5 minutes break, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We have discussed this, and we're quite. What we want to do is we want to keep this, and we want to base the refusal on contrary to the green belt. Officers, I've got to say this. Officers advise that we don't do this, but we have had a vote now, and the vote was refusal. So what I'd like to say, our recommendation is we would refuse this application on the grounds of contrary to the green belt. Thank you. Would you like to say anything, Mike?
I would just say, Chair, that no, I think we spoke at length about the risks to the council, and that's fine.
Clearly the conversation was between those who voted against, and therefore that's the usual conversation as the way this committee works. Therefore, those of us who were not part of that conversation under the NPPF from 2024, we need to be explained to, before we can vote whether to support this or not, we need to understand those risks. Because we're about to vote, aren't we, on the refusal?
Adele, but we've said we're refusing it.
But we're not voting on whether to refuse or not. We're going to vote on whether or not on the refusal, the reasons for refusal, and therefore we need to understand the risks, and that's the way that the NPPF is written. So we need to hear from Michael as to what the risks are.
Okay, officers gave the advice around refusing on reasons around reserve matters that obviously were still of concern to members. We advise obviously that they sit subject to reserve matters, so they're not relevant necessarily for a reason to refuse. We obviously discussed the risks around refusing for a site that has been identified in published study that it is a grey belt site, and obviously that the planning balance is tilted in favour of sustainable development where we are getting affordable housing. But I appreciate members' opinion on that, but they were the risks that we discussed.
Thank you. So, can we take the vote again?
Yes. Take a vote on the reasons for refusal.
So, all those in favour of the recommendation, I won't read it out again because I've previously done that unless you'd like me to. Okay?
Excuse me, Chair, what are we voting on now? We're voting on...
We're voting it again because we've been asked to. We took legal advice on it. We need to vote again.
So we're voting on the reason for refusal and not to refuse it because we've already voted to...
Yeah.
This has never happened before.
So
It's
basically,
nonsense.
because you're making a recommendation that is different to the planning officers, you have put that forward. You now need to vote on your refusal reason that you are giving as your recommendation. That is due and proper process. So I apologise if you've not done it before, but...
I'll go back to how I said the recommendation. All those in favour of the recommendation, please show. Thank
So
you.
you're not in favour of the recommendation?
The recommendation is...
No, this is the recommendation.
No, you're
I said, you are.
Oh, sorry if I didn't explain
You
it
confused
properly.
it,
No.
but yeah, okay. So the recommendation on the refusal, all those in favour, please show.
On the green belt.
On the yeah, and which is on contrary to the green belt, why we're refusing it. Okay. Do you want us to vote on again?
No,
No, we don't have to. Legal have just
Oh,
said we
if you want
don't
to vote
have
for the
to.
abstain. And you're against the abstain, yeah.
Can we now go to item 5? Oh, by the way, those who wish to leave, if they would like to leave, can. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you. Item 5, which is planning application number 250-14384, upgrade and replacement of the existing helicopter landing site, HLS, at Basildon University Hospital, off-site for a new HLS at Basildon Golf Course, Clay Hill Lane, Basildon, Essex. And I think that is you, Eunice, or is it Thomas? Thomas, sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The committee report is taken as read, and to make members aware, there is an update sheet which sets out an amendment to Condition 8, which has been agreed with Essex Police's Designing Act Crime Officer and the applicant. The application site falls within an area of open space and within the Greenbelt. The site is located on the north-eastern side of the A176 Nevermain in Basildon. The application seeks planning permission for the upgrade and replacement of the existing helicopter landing site for a new helicopter landing site. The existing helipad benefits from temporary planning permission, which runs until 2032. So this just shows an aerial view of the current site, and then some existing site photos as well. And so this shows the proposed site plan for the site. The proposed development would result in essential upgrades to the existing helipad, which is currently undersized and does not meet safety and operational and regulatory standards. The new helipad would be constructed to the east of the existing helipad. So this is the new helipad, and this is the current site of where the existing one is. And would incorporate a 4 metre wide safety area, along with other operational safety features, which includes new lighting. The existing helipad would be repurposed as an ambulance waiting area, and no changes are proposed to the existing access into the site. Whilst the development does not meet any of the Greenbelt exceptions, essential upgrades to the helipad are considered to represent very special circumstances. The application is accompanied by noise impact assessments and light impact assessment, and the Council's Environmental Health Service have raised no objections to the proposed development. No objections have also been raised by residents regarding the proposed development. Let's just run through some of the key issues and infrastructure, and then planning balance. And so in conclusion, the application is recommended to members for approval, subject to securing planning obligations set out in section 6.9 and the conditions set out in section 7 of the report, along with the amended condition on the update sheet. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Clarification. Sam.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can the officers clarify why the existing helipad no longer meets current operational aviation safety requirements? Thank you.
So the current helipad is undersized and doesn't, well, I don't exactly know what the exact standards are, but at the moment it's currently undersized. You can see from the proposed site plan, the new helipad is a lot bigger than the existing one, which will mean it will be able to take a wider range of aircraft that'll be able to land at the site.
Perfect, thank you. And would refusal of this application have any implications for emergency air ambulance access to Basildon Hospital?
So at the moment, the application site has a temporary permission for the existing helipad, which runs until 2032. But that means that well, the new helipad is then designed to meet current operational standards, so it includes lighting, new windsock, other operational features that are required to meet those standards.
And just in regards to any objections, was there any objections from residents on this? And could you also confirm how far away the nearest residential dwelling is from the new proposed helipad? Thank you.
So there was no objections received from residents, and then the closest residents are located 138 metres from the site.
And based on that distance, did you think that residents would be affected by the noise, by any potential aircraft coming into the new helipad?
Well, the Council's Environmental Health Service have reviewed the application. They don't consider that it would result in a detrimental impact to nearby occupiers.
Darren.
Thank you, Chair. It might be a silly question, but where will the helicopters land while the new helicopter pad is under construction? Do we have a designated area? Because obviously it's very important, right? People coming in a helicopter to a hospital, obviously being involved in a serious accident or need help straight away. So is there a place designated, or will they have to then go to a different hospital with a helipad? Thank you.
I don't actually have the information as to where they would land whilst it's under construction.
Sorry, members, if I can help. I think we currently said that this, the current one has temporary permission up till 2032, so that would give them sufficient time to get the new one ready before they give up the old one, and the old one would become the ambulance standing where the ambulances would park to receive the patient from the helicopter. Thank you.
I think what I mean is, obviously there's going to be a point where the construction is going to be taking place, right? So that's going to be a safety concern to the construction workers that are there. So that's my concern really, is how are they going to operate the construction with helicopters landing? So that's all I need clarification on really.
Yeah, so I don't actually have that information as to what would happen during construction.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the transition between the existing helipad to the future helipad, that is an operational decision for the NHS and the ambulance operators to resolve. Okay. Likewise, with the actual phasing of the construction, that would be for them to work through with it at that stage.
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, can officers just clarify that the new helipad is not about convenience or an operational thing. It's because there's certain standards associated to more modern aircraft that we now use that means the existing helipad at the moment does not meet those safety standards. Doesn't have the right markings, doesn't have the right wind. I'm not sure what, I can't remember in the report what it's called. No, the wind sock. That's the word I was looking for. A windsock. It doesn't have those things. So it's not that one particular piece of legislation has changed. It's that over time, since this was first there, there's been lots of upgrades in terms of what's expected, in terms of equipment, in terms of vehicles that a modern hospital would want to use, that with the present facility, we can't offer that. And that is what this is about, ensuring that we have the right facilities for our NHS. Would that be a fair summary of the reasons why this is coming forward?
Yes, as I say, the existing helipad doesn't quite meet up to the current standards. As I say, it's undersized, it needs more, well, it's not got the lighting and everything, so that's what this new helipad would then provide as part of the proposal.
Sorry, it's part of like the golf course around near there. So it's not an area that's got a lot of properties around. So I think we need this. It's as Adele said, it's a different model now. So it's got different aspects. So it needs a bigger heliport. So, you know, I can't see any reason really why we would want to refuse it. It's only good for us. Thank you. this is, we've got no speakers on this now, so we will go straight into mode. Okay? Committee mode. Sam?
Thank you very much, Chairman. And I think, having considered the officer's report, I am personally satisfied that this application is justified. I think we have to recognise that although it is inappropriate development within the Greenbelt, and obviously there must be substantial weight given to that harm, but I am satisfied that the applicant has demonstrated very, very special circumstances in this case. The evidence before us shows that the current facility no longer meets modern operational and safety standards, exactly as Councillor Brown pointed out earlier, and that these upgrades are necessary to ensure the continued safe operation of this important emergency infrastructure. Sorry, Councillor Baker, just something to say? Okay, thank you. Obviously, whilst there is some limited Greenbelt harm, I do believe obviously there is a public benefit of maintaining and operating a critical emergency medical facility, and that clearly outweighs the harm. So for that reason, I will support the application tonight, and I will be giving it my vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'll be supporting this application this evening. I think it's about time that Basildon actually get some upgrades. Residents are calling out for it all the time, aren't they? So I think it's good that that's actually coming to us tonight. And yeah, I'll definitely be supporting this application. Thank you.
Any other speakers? No?
Councillor Brown.
Adele?
Yeah, I think we need to be clear that this is Greenbelt. It fulfills many of those characteristics that the previous application didn't fill. This does. It is not a grey belt site in any way, shape or form. And that's why our officers are asking us to rely on those very special circumstances. And I think, you know, lots of you have spoken already about the very special circumstances that are around medical need and medical provision for this borough. And therefore, what we're being asked to approve is, do we think that that very special circumstance outweighs the recorded harm that this will cause to the Greenbelt? Because let's be clear, this is proper, like, textbook definition Greenbelt. It's not grey belt. It's a kind of, you know, green belt that we all try to protect. But I think those very special circumstances are definitely outlined and explained within the report, and I completely agree with that, and are happy to support our hospital getting upgraded facilities and therefore our residents benefiting from that. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other speakers, I will go straight into the recommendation that the planning application number 25014-384 be granted planning permission subject to the completion of a unilateral undertaking to secure a biodiversity game plan for a period of 30 years and subject to the conditions set out in section 8.0 of the report, with any amendments that might be necessary up to the issue of the decision notice. All those in favour, please show. I think that's unanimous. Thank you. We will now go on to item 6, which is planning application number 25008984, installation of an energy storage facility, including battery enclosures, power conversion units, transformers, substations, grid connections, infrastructure, vehicular access and associated works, land north of Rayleigh Spur, roundabout, A130, Benfleet, Wickford, Essex. I think that is you, Eunice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Good evening, everyone. My application, as mentioned, is for a battery storage facility and associated works at the land north of Rayleigh Spur roundabout. The report is taken as read. This is the site location plan of the proposed battery storage facility. The location plan shows the extent of the scheme. The battery cells are to the south, while the associated substation is to the north. Rayleigh substation, where it is proposed to connect to, is directly north of this site across the A127 and Industrial Park. It's not on this map because it's cut off. And this application is for battery storage only. So the facility would store surplus electricity generated from renewable sources such as wind and solar, and release it when demand is higher, helping to improve grid stability, energy resilience and security of supply. The site benefits from an agreed grid connection with energization anticipated after 2030. Officers have attached substantial weight to these public benefits, recognizing that the battery energy storage systems are essential infrastructure for integrating renewable energy, reducing pressure on the electricity network, and supporting both national energy security objectives and climate change commitments. This is an aerial photo which provides some more context to the location of the proposed battery storage facility. The land is landlocked by the A127 to the north, the A1245 to the east, and the A130 to the west, just here. The key issues are in front of you there to have a look at. And we also have the planning balance, which are as such. Of course, we have the negative planning balance, the negative assessment, which is loss of greenbelt land and loss of agricultural land, but we have positives to that as well. As you can see, where the proposal would support the transition to a low carbon energy grid, improves grid stability, facilitates the integration of renewable energy sources. The proposal is reversible, so after 40 years the land will revert back to its original use. And this this scheme provides 23.66% net gain in habitat units for biodiversity. And yeah, that is the... Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you. That is the recommendation for this application is to grant it, and I'm open to any questions from members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just in regards to the Greybelt classification, so the Council's own Greenbelt study concludes that this particular parcel makes a strong contribution to the Greenbelt purposes A and B. On what planning basis have officers concluded that this site should nevertheless be treated as Greybelt when the Council's own evidence base appears to indicate the opposite?
So, in the officer report, officers recommended that the site localised is Greybelt due to the fact that it's landlocked between major arterial roads. So the site itself would be considered Greybelt in that instance because it's not good functioning Greenbelt land and would not serve the Greenbelt purposes.
Sorry, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'll just add to that. The 2025 Greenbelt study, it assesses sites at a larger scale, so that's where it's done that assessment. But in this instance, the officer has assessed this individual site, and as you can see, it is highly constrained, this site, and that's for the assessment of this individual site has determined that it's strongly or likely to be Greybelt, whereas the broader parcel in its entirety contributes to Greenbelt, if that makes sense.
And in just regards to the demonstrable need, obviously paragraph 155 requires that there needs to be a demonstrable unmet need for this type of development proposed. what specific evidence has been presented that this battery storage facility must be located on this Greenbelt site rather than non-Greenbelt land elsewhere? I just want to understand really if this is a site-specific plan or just a generic argument about net stupid zero.
Thank you. So the battery storage facility needs to be located. No worries. Thank you. So the batteries. Thank you. The battery storage facility needs to be located close to suitable grid infrastructure to operate efficiently. The site is adjacent to major electricity infrastructure and transport corridors, so it makes it an appropriate location from a technical and planning perspective.
And just one more question around the 40-year loss of openness as well. Obviously, officers do acknowledge that the proposal would cause a significant loss of Greenbelt land and Greenbelt openness for the next 40 years. So why should we regard a 40-year industrial development or an open agricultural field as a temporary impact carrying only moderate harm? Thank you.
So the officers in the officer report acknowledge that the 40-year lifespan, exists, and you've just mentioned that it's a long time. However, the scheme does have sort of a lot of benefits to it, given that it will help with sort of our need to support the transition into a low carbon energy grid. Yeah. It will also improve grid stability. The planning balance shows how it facilitates the integration of renewable energy sources, and in this particular scheme they are providing 23.66% net gain in habitat units for biodiversity. So in that instance, officers have recommended grant decision because the positives of this scheme outweigh the negatives.
Councillor Baker, Mike.
Thank you. So, Eunice, in previous applications, when the planning balance has been presented, there's been like a weighting against each of the items, so substantial weight in favour, moderate weight against, etc. Are you able to provide us with any more granularity on this particular one? Because I'm not really clear, to be honest, how strong the positives are and how negative the negatives are in this particular instance. Thank you.
So the proposal would cause a significant loss of visual openness to this land for a 40-year period, and it would introduce industrial components to this piece of land. But this is considered moderate, given that the harm is limited and localized, because the site is already surrounded by roads and infrastructure, which officers have put in the officer report that it diminishes its rural qualities. There are also very special circumstances in this instance. So the very special circumstances are given significant weight. The very special circumstances are given significant weight as it addresses sort of the climate emergency, supports renewable energy. We are enhancing energy security. There's a biodiversity net gain, and again, it's reversible.
Sorry, Eunice, I'm still not really clear. So are you able to give us a kind of a grading for each of the items in the positive section, which are considered more significant, carry substantial weight in favour, etc. If it's in the report, please direct us to where that is.
sorry, Councillor Baker, in the report, the very special circumstance argument have all been given significant weights, the ones that I've referenced.
Are you happy with that, Mike?
5.6, page 11. If I can help in terms of the location and the very special circumstances, battery storage, this is what the application is essential for clean energy grid. For example, when energy is created from solar farms, wind farms, etc. The reason for this is the reason for these storage facilities, they are cropping up in most of the UK. It is to step in to balance supply and demand of renewable energy as renewable energy expands. This is to ensure that stable electricity supply is provided for the national grid across the country. The locations have to be in particular areas. They have to be close to substations, as Eunice said. The substation is on the other side of the main road, or transmission lines where there's spare capacity. So this meets all that criteria. Thank you.
Alan.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm still not convinced by the very special circumstances of this. It's Greenbelt. I know it's surrounded by roads, but we can't just keep using Greenbelt for things that are not the very. I just don't. I'm not convinced that there's very special circumstances are warranted at the moment. No one's convinced me.
Yeah, I just want to get some clarification here. These battery storage, they can store energy however it's created, whether it's from oil in the North Sea, whether it's from a wind farm, or whether it's from me pedalling a bike. So it's not there to support the type of energy that it contains. What it's there to do is to be part of the work that the National Grid is doing at the moment to ensure that we have a continuation of supply. And that continuation of supply is easier to happen if we have battery storage where they've stored it somewhere in between. Therefore, at times of high usage, we're going to be able to access that. It's like carrying around a spare battery for your phone. So when your chargers run out, you've got some more to plug in. That's what these storage units are for. They're not to support any type of energy. They're there to be there so we can have a continuation of use. We know in this part of the country at the moment, we do not have a continuation of use, and that at times our grid is really overstretched. That's why they're looking at putting the pylons all the way down, because they want to get energy from where it is to where we need it. These battery storage takes away some of that pressure in the fact that battery the energy can be stored where it's needed rather than having to be continuously transport it from where it's generated to where it's being used. We all know from some of the plan applications you guys passed in the last sort of 2-3 years that we have a lot of new data centres in this area. Data centres can only work effectively if they have a continuation of energy supply. And these are going to be able to be used in order to back that. This is all about energy infrastructure. It's not about the type of energy that goes there. It is seen as a key piece of infrastructure by our energy suppliers in order to ensure that this part of the world has the right amount of electricity whenever it is needed. Is that the focus? And that's a very special circumstances. Do we want a continuation supply of electricity or not? So I'm just asking the officer, is that the very special circumstance? Am I understanding it correctly?
That is correct.
Thank you, Adele. Martin.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Could you put the picture up again of actually the location, please, Eunice? Sorry, it's been a bit of pain. Right. I noticed that Essex Police have got no issue with this. That road, the whole circle around where we're going to put this thing, what protection is there going to be for those battery storage places? Because that road, all part of it, the A130, the A127, does not have a good track record down there for serious road traffic collisions and fatalities. I've got the stats here. You know, we're just looking at a fatal and three serious road traffic collisions over the last couple of years. You go back further, it gets even worse. So what's going to protect those battery storage plants should something happen down there, a lorry or cars leave that and go into the battery storage? Is there any sort of infrastructure going in around there? I know it's probably not relevant to the application. I'm just concerned because of the history down that road, that whole section.
Can I clarify with you? You asked about the crime.
No, not the crime.
But you're clarifying about highways.
Essex Police have got no objections down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Highways don't appear to have any objections down
No.
there. And yet the statistics show that area has a high proportion of killed, seriously injured and injured road traffic collisions. I'm looking at it here. So what protection is there going to be for these battery storage units? Or that, so should something happen down there, a lorry or a heavy goods vehicle or other vehicles do not leave that road and then go into a battery storage shed and rupture something.
So the battery storage facility itself is sort of not near or too close to any of the major roads, and as part of the associated infrastructure they have fencing. So they will be sort of enclosed within that fencing, and as part of its infrastructure, associated infrastructure will have CCTV cameras there. And yeah, it's sort of there's fencing there.
Yeah. So on the road area, we're not thinking, or we're not suggesting, or they haven't suggested, we'll run some Armco or something like that around it.
I think what he's trying to say is a heavy goods vehicle is 44 tonnes. It
Okay.
has a blowout. It swerves on the way to the facility.
Yeah.
What are you putting in place in order? Oh, sorry. I think, sorry to interrupt. I think what Councillor's trying to get at is, say a 44-tonne lorry, tyre blowout, it swerves in the direction of the battery facility. What is there to stop that vehicle colliding with the building? I think that's what you were getting at, right?
Thank you. Thank you for
the history on the road.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. So there won't be the construction period of this scheme. Obviously, won't go on forever. So you'll only get those heavy lorries there during that construction period. So we've got.
Sorry. That's a main road onto the A127, okay? So there's constantly, I don't think he's talking about the construction period. We understand there's going to be lorries. They're not going to go into the facility, right? They're not going to crash into it. I think what he was getting at was, once the construction's finished, and obviously the road is back to, obviously, because there's going to be, I would assume, speed restrictions and stuff like that. But when the road is operating fully, and you're going to have, 44-tonne lorries going past there, not related, but, delivering goods to the surrounding areas, what stuff are in place to stop them colliding into the building?
Well, when the battery storage is fully opened and usable, the road networks won't be impacted. So how they operate now is how they will operate when it's been constructed.
Yeah, I mean, I will just add to that. So the way that risk is mitigated is that the battery storage itself is set back from the highways, and then there is obviously going to be introduction of a fencing. The detail of that fencing will be resolved at a later stage, but is the fencing the detail of the fencing? Sorry, yeah, and then the highways.
Can I
highways
just
have
remind
assessed,
everyone to do it through the chair? Don't call out. And you, Darren. Okay.
and
Thank
then
you.
highways have done an assessment of all of those mitigation measures and said that they don't see that as a risk.
Alan.
Thank you, Chair. I'm still not convinced that we need to lose Greenbelt because of this. I mean, if I'd have been on the committee when the battery centre was put in Wickford on Greenbelt, I wouldn't have voted for that. Not because it's in Wickford, but because they keep giving us excuses as to why these need to be on Greenbelt, and we're just losing Greenbelt. They could be on Greybelt just the same. I mean, they're talking about the supply being in the right place, but they said that about the data centre, and it could have been on Burnt Mills, which is brownfield, but it wasn't. So I don't think this needs to be on Greenbelt using our Greenbelt. I think it could be on brownfield site somewhere. So I won't support it unless I can be given a decent reason for these very special circumstances that I've come back to, that no one has convinced me that this is very special circumstances. Thank you, Chair.
Darren.
Thank you, Chair. You said about the agricultural land that we're losing. Do we know what that is used for currently? Is it being farmed? Is it growing crops? You know, what has the farmers said anything regarding this application? Do we have any indication that they're objecting this, or could you clarify? Is that okay? Thank you.
Yeah, so the land is currently being farmed, and it is for sort of cropland that is wheat, that type of that type of crop, but the farmer has entered into an agreement with the applicant. So.
Yeah, okay, you can answer that.
Do we know what the agreement is, or is that private and confidential between the developer and the farmer?
It's not a planning
I
matter.
don't have that information to hand.
Do you want to do it through the chair, officer?
Sorry. It's not a planning matter, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to ask a really small question. In terms of the location, you said in the report that contributes, the actual physical location where it is, contributes to the very special circumstances, because it needs to be near where it can connect to the grid. Could you please just clarify that so that we understand that this location actually makes it very special circumstances? Thank you.
Yeah, so the scheme will be connecting to the grid after 2030, and the substation that it will connect to is Rayleigh substation, which is directly to the north here. You can see it a little bit better in this image here. So the site is where my cursor is here, and the Rayleigh substation is to the north of that. There's also an existing pylon there that is proposed to facilitate that connection.
Can I just make it, really what you were saying, Eunice, is the grid stability. That's what it needs, because none of us want power cuts. We want something that was there to back it up. if we need it. And that's what you're actually saying, isn't it? Yes. Right?
That's correct.
Thank you. We have one speaker that's remote. I think Sue's that speaker there.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Thanks, Jenna.
There's a bit of an echo, so this might be slightly awkward, but I'll try to do my best.
Yes, good evening. If you could tone it down a little bit, it is very loud. Thank you.
Is that any better? Okay. I'll start.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. And good evening.
Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Jenna Folkard and I'm a project manager at RES working on the Fairgreen Battery Energy Storage project. I'd like to talk a little on why a development of this nature should be supported. First, this is critical national infrastructure situated close to where it's needed. Our national grid is under pressure as the way in which we generate and use electricity is significantly changing. At any given moment, the amount of energy we generate must be finely balanced with the amount of energy we consume. If this balance isn't achieved, it can lead to outages and grid failures. The grid needs to respond in milliseconds, not minutes, to prevent this downtime and keep the lights on for homes and businesses across Basildon, Essex and the wider UK. Battery Energy Storage Systems, or BESS projects, like this one before you tonight, does exactly that. It helps to support the national grid by storing energy at times when generation exceeds demand and releasing that energy back to the national grid when demand exceeds generation. Battery storage is the fastest accepted technology for responding to sudden spikes in demand or abrupt losses of supply, which keeps the grid stable without waiting for slower generation assets to come online. The location of the Fairgreen BESS on an island of land which is underutilised on the Fairglen interchange was chosen due to its proximity to the Rayleigh substation and its ability for the project to connect it. This ultimately allows the project to achieve those fast response times which are needed. At a time of geopolitical uncertainty and volatile international energy markets, this is a practical infrastructure that strengthens UK energy security and helps make better use of homegrown power. Secondly, the Fairgreen project has been designed specifically to minimise impacts on the local area. Comprehensive technical and environmental assessments have been completed, all of which conclude that no significant impacts will be created. Extensive landscaping, fencing and sensitive site layout mean that from the surrounding roads, the installation will be barely visible. The site's location within the interchange also means it already benefits from direct access to the existing road network without requiring new junctions or entrances. A full construction traffic management plan has been agreed to manage vehicle movements during the construction period with no impact anticipated on residential routes. There are no residential properties immediately adjacent and there are no objections from statutory consultees. Lastly, the economic case for this project is clear. Identified by National Grid as essential to grid stability, UK government analysis shows that increasing battery storage capacity could reduce energy system costs by up to £10 billion per year by 2050, helping to keep household bills down at a time when costs are rising dramatically. So to conclude, this project has been subject to comprehensive environmental and technical assessment and has received no objection from statutory consultees. Energy security and energy prices are key national priorities, and this is a development which can deliver real and tangible benefit. We therefore respectfully ask the Planning Committee to support this application in line with the Office's recommendation for approval. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Jenna Folkard. That was very good. Thank you. Now we'll go straight into our mode of committee. Have we have any speakers on this? Sam.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think it's quite clear that, well, for me, I cannot support this application. We're going from wheat to wattage, and it's quite clear that the Council's own Greenbelt study says that this parcel makes a strong contribution to the Greenbelt purposes. Yet officers are asking us to treat it as Greenbelt land. This proposal will industrialise over 18 hectares of Greenbelt and productive farmland for the next 40 years. And whilst I hear the weak arguments about energy security and net stupid zero, those benefits do not automatically override Greenbelt protection. Plus, it won't be connected to the grid until 2030, meaning by the time Reform UK get into government, Nigel Farage will scrap this net stupid zero nonsense as it is, and we'll start drilling in the North Sea.
Sorry, Chair.
No.
Could you ask?
Fine,
Sorry,
fine.
could you ask Councillor Journet to withdraw that statement?
Absolutely not. No
Chair,
place.
as it's a clearly political statement. Thank you.
So future. Fine.
I would recommend that you retract the political comment.
Absolutely not. It is net stupid zero. Net stupid zero. We're taking wheat for wattage. That's what we're doing. No, not at all. And I'm not convinced that the applicant has demonstrated that the benefits clearly outweigh the harm to the openness, the countryside and agricultural land. And for those reasons, I will be voting against the application. But just to clarify it for the officers, if this does decide to be rejected today, this site is not Greybelt and remains Greenbelt land that makes a strong contribution to the Greenbelt purposes. The proposed development therefore constitutes inappropriate development in the Greenbelt, resulting in harm by reason of inappropriateness, loss of openness and encroachment into the countryside. Obviously the applicant has failed to demonstrate very special circumstances that clearly outweigh the harm. Just want to clarify that for officers before we get into that debacle. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just remind you, Sam, that you can't bring anything political to this committee. It's quasi-judicial. We are a planning committee. Anybody else would like to speak on this? No?
Thank you, Chair. Basically, I've asked a few times about very special circumstances. No one has really given me a good enough reason, so 90% of what Sam said I agree, Councillor Journet said I agree with, so I won't be supporting this application.
Thank you. Any more speakers, Adele?
Yeah, thank you. So we agree that it contributes in 2 points out of the 5 for Greenbelt. The Greybelt implications are because of its location and its surrounding area, and therefore would meet the Greybelt test. That is what we've said earlier. What we've also said is this is a matter of infrastructure, just like we were willing to put under very special circumstances the infrastructure that we needed helicopter provision to the Basildon Hospital on Greenbelt. This is a piece of Greenbelt that we're being asked to think about what infrastructure are we going to need today, tomorrow and in the future. We are told by the National Grid that we do not have enough electricity in this area. This is critical energy infrastructure. It's not about where the energy comes from. It's not about whether it's clean, dirty, or, like I said, me peddling a bag. It's about ensuring that we have continuity of service for the industry around us, but also for our residents. I don't think the report can make it clearer why that is a very special circumstance, because we do not have sufficient continuity of supply in this area. That's why they're looking at putting pylons all the way down here, because we do not have sufficient supply to meet the need constantly. And therefore, this is looking at, no, it's not looking at how many more houses we're building in that area. This is looking at what we need today in order for continuity of service. The very special circumstances outlined in the report are about the actual location it is. A battery storage facility needs to be as close to that grid as possible. And you can see from the pictures that were put up earlier how close that is to Rayleigh. That is all part of the very special circumstances. I cannot understand why this committee, thank you, Alan, thank you, why this committee would not see the need for electricity to power this area as a vital piece of infrastructure for our future. For me, it's very clear cut from the report that there are special circumstances on that and that it is Greybelt. So therefore, I will be completely supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Adele. Any others?
Do you want to let Burnham know?
Any other speakers, Darren?
Thank you, Chair. Quite simple for me. I won't be supporting it. It's very, very simple. It's clearly Greenbelt, isn't it? We've already heard from the officer there that it's been farmed for wheat. So yeah, I definitely won't be supporting this application. Come to me with a different location in a Greenbelt area that's actually Greenbelt and just stay in there. Sorry, Greybelt. Apologies, Greybelt. I may consider it, but until then, yeah, I won't be supporting this application. Thank you.
Charlie, we need the wheat.
Anybody else? Would you like to speak, Martin? No? No? Right, well, I think I can have my 2 pennies now. I believe that we do need grid stability. It might not happen now, but we don't want power cuts. And with certain things that are going on, with our AI centre, it's going to use a lot of electricity. We will need some sort of backup. And I know there's some pros and cons. You've got the, on the green belt, I mean, there's possibly a badger set on there, but we can't use that anymore because it doesn't hold no weight. But I am going to support this evening. Thank you. More speakers. We will go into the recommendation, which is that the planning application number 25008984 be granted planning permission subject to the conditions at the end of the report with any amendments that might be necessary up to the issues of the decision notice. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Any abstentions? No. All those against? So we have another refusal.
I think I have a reason for that, Chair. Thank you very much, Chair. As I noted earlier, obviously I've preempted, obviously during my speech regarding the reasons for refusal. Obviously this site is not grey belt and remains green belt land that makes a strong contribution to green belt purposes. So on that basis, the applicant has found to demonstrate very special circumstances that clearly outweigh the harm. So on that basis, that is why we would like to refuse, unless there's any other reasons why a member of the committee would like to add to the refusal. No?
Adele.
Yeah, Chair, can we please have some advice from our officers about the risks of taking that forward as we did last time? As a committee, we need to understand that. Thank you.
Some advice, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I mean, look, I will just say, obviously, that reason for refusal is contrary to the officer's recommendation and the evidence that is outlined within the report. As we said, yes, the 2025 Greenbelt study identifies the larger parcel as strongly contributing to the Greenbelt purposes A, B and D, but the officer's assessment clearly shows that the smaller parcel itself does not strongly contribute to purposes A, B and D, and therefore the refusal recommendation is against officer recommendation. You know, the risk is that that is overturned at appeal, but you know, you are entitled to refuse the application, and if you put forward a reason for refusal.
So the recommendation, so you want to vote on this, don't you?
Yes,
please.
continue.
Which is contrary to Greenbelt, that we're making this refusal this evening to this application. All those in favour, please show. Okay, thank you, it's refused.
Yeah, if you can.
Oh yes, yes, we just vote on that, that's right. You, yeah.
So you ask them to.
No, we don't have to vote.
No, they need to vote to abstain.
Oh,
or
all those, if you
the
abstain.
refusal.
Sorry, are you chairing this?
All those against?
Sorry, who's chairing? You're not chairing the meeting. Mo is chairing the meeting.
Right. So we go those, all those against the decision. Thank you. We don't have to do it because we've done that one before. Thank you, everyone. Safe journey home. Take care.